Good morning, cadets. Today I'll be taking up the textbook. Now let's take the introduction of Anne Frank before we read the lesson. Anneliese Mary Anne Frank was born on 12th June 1929, was a German. She was a Jewish who wrote while in hiding. That was her creativity did not stop even in hiding. Friends in Amsterdam were there, all helped them during the German occupation of Netherlands in World War II. Her family had moved to Amsterdam after the Nazis gained power in Germany, but they were trapped when the Nazi occupation extended into Netherlands. As persecutions against, persecution is harassment. Harassment against the Jewish population increased. The family into hiding in July 1942 in hidden rooms in her father Otto Frank's office building. After 2 years in hiding, the group was cheated or betrayed and transported to the concentration camp system where Anne Frank died. So, this is before we read. Now, let us view the chapter. So after 2 years in hiding, the group was betrayed and Anne Frank died. Even her sister also died there. Her father was the only survivor from the concentration camp, and Anne was lucky. Her father got this diary entry published, and she became very immortal in the world of English literature. The diary was given to Anne Frank on her 13th birthday, and it chronicles the events of her life from 12th June 1942 until its fine entry on 1st August 1944. So, children, first of all, I would like to say this is all MCQ this year. So, they may ask you the minutest details and they will give you choices. So, either you are right or you are wrong completely. So, you have to pay attention to all the minute details. So, that diary highlights her life between 12th June 1942 to 1st August 1944. These all things we have to remember because MCQs are a blessing also, and MCQs can be dangerous because you either get full marks or you get zero. So be very careful. It was eventually translated from its original Dutch into many languages and became one of the world's most widely read books. There have also been several films, television, and theatrical production, even an opera based on the diary, described as a work of mature and insightful mind. The diary provides an intimate examination of daily life under Nazi occupation. Anne Frank has become one of the most renowned and discussed of the Holocaust victims. So it is a very, at a very tender age, she has done it, and it was really a big success she has achieved. Let's proceed to the lesson.
Ma'am, what is the meaning of chronicles?
Chronicle means date wise arranging the events. Writing in a diary is really a strange experience for someone like me. So it is a biography, autobiography, and Frank is writing not only because I have written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. So Anne was always afraid that people feel that only matured people can be creative. So she's afraid whether people will appreciate what a 13-year-old girl has written. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing and I have a even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. So her chest is filled with lot of creativity and she wants to pen it down. So she feels okay if the audience does not appreciate my effort, but I have something to write, I'm going to write it. And the famous line comes up, paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored, listless. Listless means no energy, wondering whether to stay in or go out. So she has written when she was very bored. I finally stayed where I was brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience. And since I'm not planning to let anyone else read this stiff back notebook, grandly referred to as diary, unless I should find a real friend. So she wants a real friend who can appreciate her worth and who can be a genuine critic. Some people criticize others just to have fun, but she wants a real friend who can be a good critic also and tell her what are the problems with the diary and appreciate her effort. It probably won't make a bit of difference. Now, I'm back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. So, we may be moving around with many people. We say hi, hello to many people, but sometimes the list may be long, but a real friend can be one or two only who tell us many things on our face. And Anne says that I don't have a real friend. So that is why I love my diary, Kitty. Let me put it more clearly since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world. Mostly, what happens is that intelligent people, creative people, they don't surround themselves with nonsense or with people who don't appreciate them. Maybe Anne was one of them. So she feels that she's 13, but she's completely alone in the world. And I'm not. I have loving parents. A 16-year-old sister also is there. But there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have family, loving aunts, a good home. No, on the surface, I seem to have everything except my one true friend. So she says, I have a lot of people, but I don't have a true friend. All I think about when I am with friends in having good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get closer, and that is the problem. So everybody's thoughts are different. So Anne says that everyday life, if I am discussing with my friends, then I can be happy. But she wants to a level up. That is, she wants to discuss beyond people. Those who talk about people and all, they are at very low level. What is he doing? What is she doing? And was not much interested, but at school she had to do it. So she says that I don't have a true friend with whom I can have an intelligent talk. In any case, that is just how things are. Unfortunately, they are not liable to change. That is why I started the diary. To enhance the image of this long awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people the way most people. But I want the diary, and I'm going to call this friend Kitty. So you must have heard many people have the habit of writing diary. Every night they will write down the whole day's routine and all. But Anne says, I am not going to do that. My diary is my friend. So it is very special, my true friend. Let us switch on to the next slide. Since no one can understand a word of my stories to Kitty, if I were to plunge right in, I would better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. So she doesn't want to give an introduction about her family, but she says, I'm going to do it. And she starts with her father, the most adorable father I have seen, because he has gifted her this diary on her 13th birthday. Did not marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926 and I was born on 12th June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father immigrated into Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander, so her mother's name is Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margaret and I were sent to Aachen to stay with her grandmother. Margaret went to Holland in December. I followed in February, where I plunked down on the table as a day present for Margaret. I started right away at Montessori Nursery School. So she at 6 she went and joined them. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mrs. Cuperus, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we both were in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. So she had good terms with Mrs. Cuperus, the headmistress. In summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation, so my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandmother died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebrations in 1942 was intended to make up for the other. Grandmother's candle was lit along with the rest. So her birthday and grandmother's death anniversary and all is there. Four of us still doing well, and that brings me to present date, 20th June 1942, the solemn dedication of my diary. So she, the first part, she has talked about how she found that she had no true friend, and this is how she starts to write or make a diary entry, and her diary has been called Kitty by her. Then she gives a brief introduction about her family and talks that the most adorable person in her family is her father, who has gifted her the diary, her mother Edith Frank, and talks about her sister, elder sister Margaret. There is a mention that she loves her grandmother and she had passed away. That's why her birthdays had become a low key affair. They did not celebrate her birthday previously. The crux of the introduction is that at the age of 13, Anne is matured to her age. Usually, a child of 13 does not think like Anne. She has understood the world at a very tender age. She feels that it's very difficult to find a true friend. whom we can have an intelligent talk with. So Anne is very creative and she became very famous with this diary entry. Yeah, you can
Today,
speak.
I'll be sharing you some of images related to the concentration camps. This is a present day Auschwitz concentration camp, which looks very nice from the outside, but from inside, it is a not less than hell. You can see that dead bodies of the Jews who were gassed in the chambers in Nazi Germany. The prisoners were led to excess labor without food, which resulted them to death. These are the gas chambers. They were too much congested. The people would not breathe in there. They would die with suffocation. These are the decomposed skeleton of the dead bodies. As you can see that.
Yeah, so from 1933 to 1945, Nazi Germany operated more than 1,000 concentration camps. The first camps were established in 1933, immediately after Adolf Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany. So there were many concentration camps and prisoners, as Kiran also has already told, shown the pathetic condition of the concentration camp. More than 1,000 concentration camps, including sub camps, were established during the history of Nazi Germany, and around 1.65 million people were registered prisoners in the camps at one point of time. Around a million died during the imprisonment. Many of the camps were turned into museums so that they could commemorate the victims of the Nazi regime.
Sketch and some real life photos of Anne Frank, her family, and place she was hiding. About
No problem.
her, Anne Frank has. This is an extract from Anne Frank's most famous, the book, her diary, which she had called Kitty. Annalise Mary Frank, 12th June 1929, February to February or March 1945, was a German diarist of Jewish heritage, one of the most Jewish victims of the Holocaust. She gained fame posthumously with the 1947 publication of the Diary of a Young Girl, originally Het Alterius in Dutch, which in which she documents her life in hiding from 1942 to 1944. During the German occupation of the Netherlands in World War II, it is one of the world's best known books and has been the basis for several plays and films. Analysis of the lesson. This lesson is an extract from the book written by Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. This extract given in the lesson describes the life of Anne. She was in the hiding in her father's Netherlands, where she starts to write the chronicles and events of her life from a entry on 1 August 1944. Summary. The writer finds it strange and unusual for her to write.
Yeah, you can
Yes, ma'am.
continue.
About the author. Annalise Mary Frank, 12th June 1929 to February or March 1945, was a German Dutch diarist of Jewish heritage, one of the most discussed Jewish victims of the Holocaust. She gained fame posthumously with the 1947 publication Analysis of the Lesson. In this lesson is an extract from the book written by Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. The extract given in the lesson describes the life of Anne Frank when she was in the hiding in her father's office in Netherlands, where she starts to write the chronicles and events of her life from 12th June 1942 till her final entry on 1 August 1944. Summary. The writer finds it strange and unusual for her to write a diary because it will be the first time she'll be experiencing something like this. She feels that in future no one is going to read about a young girl's experiences and happenings. Still, somehow she puts all these thoughts away and writes what she feels in a diary. The writer feels lonely because she doesn't have any real friends to talk to. She wants someone as a friend at that time, but she indeed considers the diary as her friend and gives her diary a shape and the name Kitty. She feels like the paper has more capacity of absorbing the thoughts rather than people who have problems with patience level. Sometimes she expressed herself with the diary. She was and comfortable diary more than people. She had a good with her. She didn't that they are not her true friends. She always refers to her father who gifted this amazing diary on her 13th birthday and loved her most. On June 20, 1942, she mentioned how her class was worried about their results. The writer says that, ma'am, this is the place, uh, her hiding place behind the bookcase, ma'am. The bookcase hid away to the secret place. And the other photo is the same place after 75 years. And Frank with her family, ma'am. These are some of their her family photos. Hmm.
Her father, her sister,
This is her
and
father Otto Frank,
her
her
sister,
mother
and
Edith Frank, and her sister Margot Frank. These are some pics of Anne Frank, ma'am.
thank you.